Okay, the purpose of this video is to guide you through the content in Module 2 of English 112. So again, review this introductory information and the learning objectives, the assignment summary, including the due dates. You'll notice that you have a reading, you have a quiz, and some other information and assignments in this module. So when you click on the reading, it will take you to this link, to this website, where you will read The Birthmark, published by Nathaniel Hawthorne in 1843. This is the humanities discipline, and so this is a humanities text. That's very important. That means that everything that you do and everything you think about and work on with this text for this module is going to be humanities-based. So think back to those characteristics that you read in Module 1 about the humanities disciplines. Those are the ideas that you're going to work with for this assignment, or for these assignments in this module, rather. Okay, so you need to read this text very carefully. You will then, after reading the text, you'll take the birthmark quiz. You can take it twice, and the highest score will be kept. Again, you just click on it, and you can take the quiz. Then I have a list of literary terms, and it says, in our reading of the birthmark, consider how the following literary devices are used effectively to help you construct meaning in the short story. Use the literary terms dictionary linked below to discover any unfamiliar terms. So if you are unfamiliar with these terms and what they mean, you can use this dictionary and you can type in the terms and get their definitions and examples. And then you want to think, well, how am I actually seeing imagery used in the birthmark, and find examples? Or how am I seeing irony or metaphor being used, and find examples? You need to be able to explain that. Do not skip this step, because this is information, or this is rather a step that you need to do in order to be able to complete your next assignment. So you need to know what these are, and you need to know how they're at work within the text. Okay? After that, there's some information that you need about how to set up your paper in MLA style. I'll also, you've got a video here for how to do it in Word and a video for how to do it in Google Docs. So make sure that you review those. And then down here we have an outline to help you write your paper. So I clicked on the PDF version and I've got it here. You're going to write a literary analysis essay. You should start with an introduction that introduces the title of the text, author's name, and the main idea of the text, set the context of why the story is important, and have a thesis statement. You'll have at least 1, 2, 3 body paragraphs. Each body paragraph is going to relate to a point in your thesis statement, and I'll go into thesis statement details in a second. It'll have a main idea, evidence from the text, analysis, and a linking sentence or a transition, and then you need a conclusion as well. So review this outline in detail, and you're going to pattern your paper after the outline. Now I know here are the instructions for the essay. The purpose of the essay is engage in critical thinking about this text. And what you're going to do is, in a well-developed essay, use specific examples from 3 different literary techniques. Which ones? You get to choose from this list. Pick 3 in the birthmark, that are used in the birthmark, and that describe how Hawthorne effectively conveys aspects of the human experience. So you need to pick a human experience, right, that is part of the theme of the story. And then you're going to pick 3 literary elements that help show or demonstrate that theme or reveal that theme to the reader. And you're going to explain how Hawthorne uses those literary elements, those 3 literary elements, to develop and explain that theme of the human experience. Okay? So there's, again, you get to choose from these options, right? You're going to write at least 2 pages, not including the works cited page. It needs to follow MLA format, double space, 1-inch margins, Times New Roman font, size 12, etc., etc. You're going to need to include in-text citations from the birthmark to support your claims. That's going to be your evidence. You're going to need to have a works cited page in MLA style. Do not use secondary sources. Like, don't go out and read what other people have written about this text for this. So I give you some details on how to approach the assignment. And the way, again, that you submit it is you'll click here and you'll submit your document. So first, let me then tell you a little bit about how to write a thesis. Excuse me. We're going to use the 1, 2, 3 method. So the thesis statement needs two things. Well, before I get to those two things, a thesis statement is a sentence that explains or gives focus to what your paper is going to be about. The thesis statement is like, this is the point that I'm making, and I'm going to use the rest of the paper to prove it. Okay? Now, there's two things that are included in a thesis statement. You need to have a claim, that is an argument that you're making. And then, in this case, since we're doing the 1, 2, 3 method, you're then going to have 3 brief points that will support that claim that you're making. Now, the claim that you're making is about the theme of the story or about that human experience. Okay, so let me demonstrate for you this example formula. Hawthorne conveys a message about, and then you're going to insert this human experience about beauty, about suffering, about submissive relationships. You get to choose the theme that you see in the text, right? By using, and then you're going to insert your first literary element, your second literary element, and your third literary element. So here's an example. This should be bold. There we go. Hawthorne conveys a message about, and here's the theme, power corrupts about how power corrupts, and then by using, and now it's going to list the 3 ways that he demonstrated that with elements, by using metaphors, similes, and allegories. So I've got the claim. Hawthorne conveys a message about how power corrupts, and then I've got my 3 literary elements by using metaphors, similes, and allegories. Now you might go, okay, so I know how to write a thesis now, but how am I actually going to use that to lay out the structure of this entire paper? Well, you saw the video about setting up your paper, so here's an example of it in MLA style. You're going to put your last name up here, you've got page number, all this identifying information, your title, and then here is your brilliant work, right? Now, the thesis statement we saw according to the outline, which I closed, was the last sentence of the introduction. So this is my introductory stuff, whatever I'm going to say. Follow the outline, and then I've got my thesis statement. Here is the last sentence of my introduction. Hawthorne conveys a message about how power corrupts. That's my claim, by using metaphors, similes, and allegories. Now, this first thing that's listed is going to be the topic for my first body paragraph. So I have to make a sentence that states the main idea first of that body paragraph. So I wrote, Hawthorne uses the story to describe how power corrupts. Again, there's still the claim. And I have to point back to that very first point in my thesis by using metaphors. And then I'm going to describe that in detail and give examples using in-text citations and so forth. Now, my second point was about he uses similes. So in my next paragraph, I'm going to start with the main idea that says Hawthorne also uses similes to show, and what was the human experience again? How show the corrupting influence of power. And then I'll give details and examples from the text, and I'll cite those with in-text citations. And then my third point was that he uses allegories. Again, these are just any random 3 that I chose. You get to choose your own 3. Hawthorne also uses allegories to demonstrate how power corrupts the main characters, and I'll give details and examples. And then according to the outline, you then restate your thesis statement in a new, fresh way. So notice I didn't copy and paste the thesis statement verbatim here. I said the same thing, but I kind of swapped the words around. I changed the language a little bit. So I've got my thesis statement here and then my conclusion. Okay? And notice that it's 2 pages long. In this case, it's a little bit over. That's totally fine. But 2 pages, not including the works cited page. And notice that the works cited is on its own page. Yours needs to do the same with the title works cited centered. Here is the this is the works cited entry for our source. Last name of the author, comma, first name, period, title of the story in quotation marks. What do I have wrong here? Oh, the literature network is the container. The container should be italicized, right? Originally published in 1843, and then the URL. We're not doing the date it was on the website, but this is the URL, okay, from the website itself. So I just copied this over, this area up here, that is, okay? Now you might go, hey, wait, isn't there something else that's missing? And you're right. What's missing from here? Oh, it needs to have a hanging indent. So I highlight it, or select it rather, by clicking and dragging my mouse. I come up to where I can edit the paragraph details. I choose special. I change it from none to hanging. And bada bing, bada boom, I now have a hanging indent. Okay. So that is how you're going to go about doing the first paper in this module, the literary analysis essay. For the literary criticism response, you're going to do something very similar, but you're instead going to read, you're going to choose one of these articles, you're going to look over which one of these are secondary sources. You're going to choose one of these secondary sources, read it in detail, and you're going to write how the ideas from that secondary source impact or affect your understanding and your interpretation of the birthmark. Okay, so I give you some steps on how to go about doing that. But again, you're writing a thoughtful response that addresses the questions and offers your own reflections on how the article strengthened your understanding of the birthmark. This one's going to be 3 pages long, type, doublespace, Times New Roman, all that stuff in MLA. And you should have in-text citations. When you come to your Works Cited page, you will include a citation for your academic source. So make sure that you follow the Purdue OWL guidelines for the academic source. Again, that's right here. You can click on this link and see how to cite an academic source in MLA. And you can email me if you have questions as well. All right, that's Module 2. Thank you so much.